they were personal and private about matters that I believed were within the scope of my personal privacy, and that particularly of other people. They had nothing to do with work, but I didn't see any reason to keep them.
Hillary Clinton talking about her unusual email arrangements now that she's being summoned to Capitol Hill. The head of the Select Benghazi Committee saying she's got a lot to explain after her unusual email arrangements while she was Secretary of State, and her decision to purge tens of thousands of emails from a private server she kept in her house. Chairman Trey Gowdy sending her lawyer a letter stating this: because of the Secretary's unique arrangement with herself as it relates to public records during and after her tenure as Secretary of State, this committee is left with no alternative but to request Secretary Clinton appear before this committee. End quote. Marjorie Clifton is a former consultant in the Obama campaign and a principal of Clifton Consulting. And Kevin McCullough is a nationally syndicated radio host and author of No He Can't: How Barack Obama is Dismantling Hope and Change, and CEO of Extreme Media. Good morning to both of you. Marjorie, do you think she'll show? Because Gowdy's putting about a 30-day deadline on this.
Well, you know, again, she's about a week out from her anticipated announcement for her run. This is actually a fabulously strategic move by Republicans to try to continue the conversation about the emails, and this is a good way to do it. When the email story broke, she actually came out and said she was publicly willing to do a public hearing, to answer questions about it in any way the committees wanted to, and to do a transcribed interview with her is sort of a way to make an ask that, frankly, she already said she was willing to do. So this is really nothing new, to be quite frank.
I got it, but it was a yes or no question. Will she show or not, Marjorie?
Oh, I think she will. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Kevin, do you?
As soon as you guys asked us to talk about this today, I commissioned a poll through social media, and some of my listeners, I'll just tell you what they're saying. 93% of the people that responded this morning don't believe she'll show, and 87% of the people that said she will don't believe they're going to get the truth on this. It's a very good move. I agree with Marjorie. Very strategic move by Trey Gowdy.
Okay. Why do they not believe that she will answer questions?
Well, when you look at what she has, let's just examine. If she does the private interview, the last time a Clinton did a private interview, he perjured himself and was impeached. She's had trouble in her last book tour. She didn't finish the tour because of the difficulty of the questions. And the last public hearing she did with the Senate committee gave the Republicans basically their best talking point for a 2016 ad campaign. If I was advising the campaigns, I'd make sure that we use that soundbite. What difference, Senator, then does it make? She's not good on her feet, and this is a very, very strategic move by Trey Gowdy.
Speaking of on tape, here is Hillary Clinton on March 10th. Marjorie, get your shot after this. Roll it.
When I got to work as Secretary of State, I opted for convenience to use my personal email account, which was allowed by the State Department, because I thought it would be easier to carry just one device for my work and for my personal emails instead of two.
My guess is she's betting her supporters will believe her and her detractors rather will not, Marjorie. When you look at some of the polling numbers out of like Florida and Pennsylvania, the favorability mark is slipping. It doesn't appear to be that case right now in Ohio, but when you consider the possibility of the poll numbers being slowly chipped away by an ongoing story like this, it perhaps will give her second thought.
Well, I mean, you're right. She's dropped 4 points in the state of Florida, and so this is having an impact, which, by the way, is why Republicans are going to want to continue this conversation and not quiet it. Now, you know, to the earlier point, I hope she's good on her feet, because if she's making a run for president, that is the name of the game, being able to answer questions, being able to be in the public eye. And absolutely, she's got to be prepared to answer to this. You know, I mean, there's no question this is an unusual practice. Again, it's an unusual time now, this disparate, you know, what is classified and private email, what is public email, or personal email, rather. So I think this is going to be an interesting landscape for all the candidates.
So, Kevin, one more point. What's the calculation now on her part? Do you go and answer Trey Gowdy's questions, or do you look at what could be a deterioration of favorability support?
If I'm Hillary, I try to get out of this meeting in any way possible. But let's assume that something goes forward. Yeah, avoid being called. Stranger things have happened in Washington. But I actually agree with Elijah Cummings on this, the minority ranking member, because he said the better way to go is to bring her before the full committee and to get the committee back to focusing on Benghazi. Here is the key kicker to this. Trey Gowdy is doing all of this as a strategy to build a case that if she's not going to tell the truth about archived emails, how can we trust her recollection on what happened in Benghazi? This is extremely strategic on his part, and Elijah Cummings kind of gave him the permission to go for the jugular.
Interesting strategy. We'll watch that. Marjorie, thank you. Kevin, thanks to you as well. From Austin and Chicago.
Thanks, Bill.